your nodes that you run are not tied to an identity at all. So your personal identity is safe. The apps that use the nodes, they don't know where the other nodes are located. They know that nodes exist in the world, but they don't know what they're running. They don't know who's using those nodes or what apps are running on those nodes. And it was designed to be resilient and fast and to switch. I mean, when you're mobile first, you have to deal with like the nodes you're running, like going through a tunnel as you're driving your car. You know, it can't be relying on nodes being up and functioning all the time. So unlike a lot of overlay networks, this was designed for downtime and for churn.
So we presented this idea back at DEF CON, and you know, it's come a really long way in the past, what has it been, 8 months, 6 months?
6 months.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've lost all meaning of time. When Dill first came to me about this back in 2020, he's like, I have this weird idea. I'm a little scared about, you know, doing it, because this could be really something that's really bad. We've seen, you know, some things that have happened when you just let people have privacy on the internet. I said, no, I think this is what matters. I believe that if, you know, we should be making privacy, you know, as accessible as signing up for Facebook. Yeah. We should be, you know, working on something that is giving the entire world the opportunity to be private without having to jump over a bunch of gates, without having to go through all these hoops, without having to have the technical knowledge to, you know, go and, you know, start working with proxies and things like that. We want to make sure that everybody has the ability to, you know, not be the product for some billionaire. As of July 2023, the network was officially working. We were able to, you know, pass data from one node to another.
I think it's up to almost, I mean, we really don't know, but like 1,000 plus nodes now. So it's people are running it. That's pretty cool.
We have a good guess. Yeah. We actually kind of can't tell. That was the beauty of this, is we are releasing it into the world, and there is no overlords. We're not the overlords. We don't run it. We have just given it to everybody. We presented it at DEF CON 31. We threw a really epic party. It was my first time throwing a party like that, but we had some amazing musical guests. I brought in some, you know, different, you know, entertainment that isn't normally at DEF CON, and it was a lot of fun. We actually had the most Cult of the Dead Cow members at a conference since BO2K.
Yeah, it's been 20 years. So.
Yeah, so it was a nice return to the way things, you know, used to be back in the hacker scene, and I was really excited for the opportunity to put that back together. Speaking of returns, you know, he mentioned about Web3, you know, Web3 and where that has gone, and we've seen that it's gotten, you know, filled with a lot of like scammer types, and we don't want to think of ourselves as Web3 or Web4. I want to take it back to Web 1.5. This is what we should have had all along.
Yeah, the future we were promised, you know.
You know, when we were younger and the internet was first introduced to us, it was introduced as a free, welcoming landscape for everybody to exchange ideas, for people to connect to one another, for people to, you know, share some nerdy niche information for other people into that nerdy niche thing. And instead, what we found ourselves is the situation where every little thing that we do online is being scraped, and it's being put in a database, and it's being sold to this person, to that person. And we don't know where that's going to lead. Yeah. You know, we're looking at a world potentially where, you know, our kids and our grandchildren may not be able to get health insurance because grandma joined a Facebook group so that a support group for her depression. We are looking at that as the future. Do I really want to go into Web 4 and Web 5 looking like that and having that be the future? No. Nah, this is Web 1.5. This is what should have been there all along. Went on a tangent. Sorry, I get really excited about this stuff. All right. Anyway, at the same time, the plan was we wanted to not only present this cool code, drop this, you know, whole thing. We wanted to build a community. We wanted to give everyone the opportunity to join us in helping us build this. And we established a Discord community back at DEF CON. And it has grown, and we're going to get a lot more into some of the things that have been happening since DEF CON. This is not the same talk. So, this is our mascot. This is Elliot. They are a brick. I found myself thinking, I really want to make something this is, going to catch on. I want to make the marketing something fun that people will remember. And, we have bricks. The idea behind this is that, we've all heard the story of Three Little Pigs, right? Bricks working together build something that lasts. They build something that is strong. Bricks build amazing things all together. But there's also the implicit, meaning here.
Yeah, our community is people that might carry bricks around in their car, so.
A brick started pride.
Yeah.
All right? And, bricks, to me, every tool is a weapon if you hold it right. And when I look at a weapon and I look at the window of data capitalism, I don't know, I get ideas. So, I mentioned that Discord community has grown, and it definitely has. I believe we just hit 3,000 members as of this morning.
Yeah, I think so.
So, 3,000, that's pretty sweet. And people are active. And it is 3,000 diverse members, and that means so many different things. It doesn't just necessarily mean diversity of, gender and race and backgrounds, but it also comes down to diversity of skill types. We have a lot of people in there that are not necessarily technical, but want to see the internet change for the better. We have people in there that are accessibility experts. We have people in there that are lawyers, marketing people. People are coming in, bringing ideas for apps that could be developed on the Veilid network, and we are able to give them the tools they need to not only help build that app and make that back end run great, but also to make it usable for everybody, because there is no point in continuing to build these complicated apps that are only available to people that understand the internet. We're seeing a lot of things come out lately that aren't accessible to people. We love the idea of Mastodon. I think it's wonderful. But it's not mobile first, and that is how people are checking their social media. That's how people are connecting, is on their cell phone. They want to sit and scroll and talk to their friends. And then we're not building it for everybody. So we want to make sure that we are giving everybody the tools they need to build it for everybody. Also, we got really caught up in, just getting this code written, and we kind of didn't do documentation. We're not real good at that.
Well, when you're iterating really, really quickly, if you were to stop and document everything and have it become obsolete 5 minutes later when you realize that you needed to change things around, it gets hard to settle on an API level commitment. Once you start writing English, people start to read it and have expectations. If you want to remain nimble, sometimes you can't afford to sit down and bake it all into text. But now, as things are starting to stabilize, it's the right time. We need to make sure that people understand how to use this thing. And that means documentation. It means the API docs, but it also means guides and books and user-level stuff, as well as all the crazy internals of how it works.
So we have been going back and doing huge runs for documentation, having a lot of help with that. We are really grateful for the folks that have come into the Discord and helped us out with that documentation.
Yeah.
And we do have some published guides now. You can go check it out on the GitLab. We have the Rust docs, and we have the developer and the internals books are in the works. They're going to be coming out soon. There is pieces you can go see what we have available.
They're living documents. They're being built today by volunteers who just wanted to learn how Veilid worked and were willing to write it all down as they learned. So that's cool.
All the code, as we said, is open source. Everything that we're building is open source. We want to make sure that this is all available to everybody and that you can go through it and see that there are no backdoors. There's no
tricks.
No tricks, no nothing.
Yeah.
We've had a ton of technical improvements since then. pushed quite a few updates.
So yeah, as of DEF CON, we have published all of the crates for Veilid, which includes a core crate that everything links in, and some other useful tools that sort of improve the state of asynchronous Rust and other things that we felt were needed to make Veilid as performant as it is. We have improved our private routing performance as well. So when you allocate a private route, it selects nodes, and we'll talk about how that works in a little bit, but you have to select nodes that you can kind of trust, and then your destination has to find nodes that they trust. And what happens when that churn happens? You've got like 4 nodes in a loop that form a circuit. And what happens when the network goes down for one of those nodes? How do you very quickly reestablish a route for the 2 endpoints without having to deal with like packet loss and stuff like that? So there's all these little details of like how Veilid takes care of its connections. Better WebAssembly support by a long shot. WebAssembly is now first class for Veilid, so basically everything you can do, including distributed hash tables and storage and private routing, all of that can happen right through your browser. Browsers normally cannot receive inbound connections. You might be familiar with how WebSockets can only go out. Well, Veilid has facilities for inbound relaying as well. So nodes can help each other out in an encrypted fashion so that those browsers can still receive connections inbound through an inbound relay that they've made an outbound connection with. So the entire signaling mechanism is enabled browsers to be first class. Much improved stability. Nodes are dealing with network churn and even the weirdest symmetric NAT, carrier grade NAT situations, all the weird stuff you might find on your phone as you're going through different cell tower systems and whatever else. Corporate networks, that kind of thing. It gets real weird on the internet. You see all these IP address ranges that you're not sure what is that documentation range? When do they use this and that? It's all built into Veilid now. We support a distributed hash table built across the entire Veilid network. You might think about that as using the hash space of the public keys of all the nodes as a locality metric for storing copies redundantly of mutable data that you push out to the network. So we have this whole crazy schema-based DHT. It's very different than a lot of the other DHTs you might find for like BitTorrent or some of these other Web3 projects. It's very innovative, has schemas which allow multiple writers to happen and communication to happen through the DHT. It's really kind of neat. Beyond the scope of this talk, but definitely come to Discord and we'll fill your brain with it. One cool addition that we've had recently is that it supports pub sub notifications as well. So if you make a DHT record and change the value, other people can notice those changes immediately and be notified rather than having to do polling like every 5 seconds to figure out if a value's changed. This allows you to use the DHT as a communication mechanism for things like synchronizing messages for a chat app, for example, and it makes those messages arrive just like this instead of waiting around for an update. So yeah, interrupt-driven stuff instead of polling, right? Good stuff. One other big deal about the way we are doing Veilid is we are a security-first organization, and I gotta say, this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to do this. I've thought about this for a little while, but I've always been proud of getting hacked, We encourage people to mess with Veilid and break it, to the point that we've had a number of researchers, enterprising folks who, want to come in and, help us break our own stuff. We actually take their exploit code that they give us and publish it in our own repository. I don't think I know of any other projects that do that are so proud of getting owned that we'll put the code that owned us right in the repo. So, if you want to get your first contribution, hacking Veilid, we'll put the exploit right in the repo, tell everybody that, here's this, here's the CVEs that came, and we actually have a few CVEs already, we fixed the bugs. But this helps us because it encourages all of our developers to make sure that they're using the latest version of Veilid and to upgrade. See, when you're in a peer-to-peer system, you can't just upgrade some core backend. like a big corporation. They've got a bunch of Amazon cloud machines that roll out a bug fix. They just push it to all of the machines they control. For us, we don't have that luxury. We can't force some person to update their app. We can't force some node operator in, wherever in the universe to upgrade their version. So to keep the network flowing, we have things like security vulnerabilities as a strong arm. We can say, oh, there's a critical vulnerability, upgrade your servers, and if people don't do that, we can lock them out for having not upgraded. You can have the ones that have upgraded not want to talk to the ones that haven't. So the network is a little bit self-healing in that way, but it helps us to be able to put pressure on people to upgrade by just giving zero downtime, guarantees here. Just go get the upgrades done, as soon as you find out. So, yeah, we're pretty proud of that. So we've had some denial of service type things and an unbounded decompression. Again, because of Rust's memory protections, these just are crashes. It's not like a remote exploit situation, but it was still significant enough that we felt it was important to fix these things and highlight the fixes that people prompted us to do.
So when we started building this, this network, we had some use cases in mind. Obviously, the first one we were thinking about is, man, I really wish Twitter wasn't, going as crappy as it is, and I would love to build that. But honestly, we are quite a few years away from that. There's so much nuance, especially when it comes to, building a safe environment for everybody that is decentralized. So that was the first immediate use case we thought of, and since then it is very much so on the back burner. My introduction to this entire industry, to hacking, personally, was some of my pictures leaked that I didn't necessarily want them to get leaked. I accidentally did some hacktivisms as a result. And so I, wanted a way that people could communicate and store that sort of, private stuff, a way to store it in a way that wasn't going to end up binding on some weird website. Those were the use cases we thought of, and obviously secure and private messaging, which we are going to be getting into in just a couple of slides. I really thought that it would be cool to have a secure and private messenger that, did not let your ex know when you joined, or that involved giving away your phone number. Yeah. So that's the first one that we are tackling. These were our immediate use case thoughts. But what's interesting is when we opened this community up, people had other ideas. And that's what I love about community, is people are going to think differently than what we thought. And these are the projects that people are pushing, and starting to, develop a community, a sub-community around, building their team so that they can start getting these apps out there. A decentralized wiki, Wikipedia that you can it's there. A private Slack alternative, Slack, Discord, all of those are, I believe, what was the word Cory Doctorow used? Shitification. Things are getting real weird in a lot of those apps, and we would really like to see something that is stable and private be more available. Patient portals that are easy to use, that are actually not storing any of that information on some server somewhere for somebody to ransom. That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal right now for some people, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of, people's health be, put at risk because of ransomware and because of hacking. And so why are we putting it on servers in places that people can have, be holding hostage? The other idea is a privileged chat between lawyers and clients that has the legalese written right in the TOS that explains what attorney-client privilege is. And also that is not stored on a server somewhere, so that is not going to end up somehow getting, published because they, somebody didn't take care of that data the way they should have.
Data provenance is hard,
Mm-hmm.
So.
And as Elliot says, the possibilities are endless. It's a brand new way to look at how to build apps. It's a brand new way to look at how to approach the internet. And we have really done the work of making it easy for developers to start trying different ideas. Because there isn't any overhead. There's no server costs. There's no anything. The only thing that developers really have to put into building an app is their time, their energy. So it gives a lot of people more freedom to try new things. The possibilities are literally endless.
So yeah, I'd like to highlight some of the things that people have already successfully published using Veilid. Some of these are honorable mentions. Some of them are pretty cool just on their own. We have Tailveil, NetDog, a Veilid plugin for the Bevy game engine, and a little honorable mention called Veilid Towel. I'll just go through those little projects. But these are all people who have come to the Veilid Discord, engaged with us, learned how the system works, and just started putting some code and linking Veilid in and making something happen with it. And some of these are, I'd say, all happened in the span of less than like 2 months of development time, and that includes learning how Veilid works. So it really isn't that hard if you just bite the bullet and start going and start working on it. Tailveil is a plugin, a VPN like Tailscale, but uses Veilid as a network substrate. So it creates a ton interface on your Linux box or whatever, and you can route your VPN over Veilid from one point to another. It's a pretty cool use case. It's not a full-fledged VPN solution, but the fact that it works is pretty cool. It shows off some of the sort of snappiness of the bandwidth and throughput of the network, which is pretty neat. Another one is NetDog. If you've ever used Netcat, you probably have. Everyone in this room has probably touched Netcat at some point. It is just a simple tunnel builder that lets you tunnel stuff arbitrarily from one end in one node in Veilid to another node. And it's as simple as running the server, cut and paste the blob, which is like a little private route, bunch of encoded string. You paste that into the client, and now you've built a tunnel, and you can just start feeding content through over standard input. There was a plugin for the Bevy game engine. Bevy is a game engine written in Rust, so you can write your entire game in Rust, and it's automatically portable to a bunch of other platforms. It's very simple, but this is a networking substrate for your game so that you can have your clients all reach each other, and it's done over Veilid private routing. So there's a game out there you can play, the Veilid checkers. It's simple, but it shows off the capability of the plugin for the game engine. It can be used in any other Bevy-based games as well. So it's a proof of concept, but I think it's pretty cool that someone just decided to make our we have like a development framework. It's neat to see it plugged into another development framework. It's just going to end up in more apps that way. I think that's great. And then, of course, there's Veilid Towel. Veilid Towel is ASCII streaming Star Wars over Veilid. It actually plays the little internet towel video thing of the ASCII Star Wars over a Veilid link. It's goofy, but it's fun little ASCII art thing, but it runs over Veilid. I'm not sure why that matters, but you can do it. Anyway.
These are the droids you're looking for.
Yeah, right, yeah. So anyway, they're instructional, they're useful, so it's just simple. It's a hello world, but it's got Star Wars in it, so whatever, So you can learn how Veilid works with something very, very primitive and simple, but it's cute, so. And of course, we have VeilidChat as well, and that's going into public beta very soon. I am actively developing on that right now. We have a bunch of private beta people using it, helping us debug. But the code is open if you want to see how we're building it. It's a first-class Flutter and Dart app that runs on all of the platforms, your desktops, Windows, Mac, and Linux, iOS, Android, and WebAssembly. I'll give you a little bit of a peek into how that's going to work. But feel free to join the Discord if you want test flight invite code when the time comes. It's another couple months tops. So, VeilidChat.
This is the sign up for VeilidChat, and that's it.
You download the app from the App Store, you run it, this is the first thing that pops up. You put your name, some pronouns in, and hit create, and that's it. There's no other sign up, no other identifiers, no phone numbers. Nothing.
No asking to access your contacts. No, nothing. It's going to be simple. It's going to be easy. This is something that everybody can use. You have to connect with people out of band.
Out of band, yeah.
Out of band in order to message with them at the moment. But that's simply because you don't want random people messaging you. I don't like it when I get text messages from random people.
Yeah, you're not going to get weird incoming chat requests from the internet by using VeilidChat. You have to at least kind of know who you're talking to. You can send them an invitation. The way this works is you just say, I want to create an invitation. You create this invitation. It says right here, send contact invite. Put a message in for the recipient. You can protect the invitation with a PIN or a password, which could also be shared over some other medium if you'd like. And you hit generate invite, and what you don't see on this page right now, but I can show you on my phone after the talk if you want, is it pops up a little QR code and an option to copy the contents of the QR code into a text encoding. You can then paste that over iMessage or over other messengers to do that initial contact exchange. Someone would import that by pasting it into VeilidChat or by clicking the scan button that's on it, and it can scan the other code. And that basically just transited a random encryption key, which is used to decrypt a DHT record that was published with the invitation. And that has a conversation pair that is then synchronized once your identities link up. We can talk about identities at some point. It's a little more complicated, but VeilidChat is also the first app for Veilid that has an identity mechanism built into it. It has a master / rotating identity key system where you can roll a new identity on a regular basis, and it's all tied to an initial identity. So if, like, say your machine was compromised and you needed to regain access, you have offline recovery keys that are built into the system, and it's that same mechanism that also lets you share your VeilidChat with one, your desktop as well as your mobile device, for example.
But if you lose those, identity keys, we can't give them to you.
Yeah, there's no recovery mechanism, there's no centralized way of getting your account back if you
because we don't know that you have an account. We don't know you exist.
Right. And the way that our DHT works, if you don't refresh those keys, it's not fully permanent. So if you were to just delete your account, all of the copies of your stuff, even, first off, once the key's gone, no one could decrypt it anyway, but it would eventually just sort of time out as nobody cared, and other more popular content overwrites it. So, it's got some interesting features already. We are actively building multiple account support as well, so you can have a separate Veilid profile in the app for, say, work or for your friends or for that one person you just wanted to chat with online but you didn't want to give them your identity. We can share the accounts between desktop and mobile platforms. You get your same messages delivered simultaneously between all of the accounts that are logged in. We have localization support built in from day one, so everything can be translated. All of the text is not baked in English or something. It's all translatable. We have lockable and deniable accounts as well, so that every account can be locked with a PIN or a password that is required to unlock it, as well as a duress password. So you could put something in case someone's trying to rubber hose you and show them that it unlocked, but there's no messages. That way, if somebody's trying to rubber hose you, you can comply, but they won't get a copy of what you're doing. They won't be able to prove that wasn't your password.
Mm-hmm. And we are also making sure that we are building accessibility as a foundation of this project. We want to make sure that this is going to be accessible to everybody. It's taken a little bit more time to make sure that when we release it, we're not having to go back and, suddenly realizing that, this is not working for people that, have issues with hearing or seeing.
Low vision, requiring a mouse, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we, from the start, are building accessibility as a foundational aspect of this. The end user, we want to make sure they are having the absolute best experience possible, because we want, like I said, I want to make privacy just as accessible as Facebook has made it to our parents. We want to make it comfortable. We want it to make it very welcoming to everybody.
36 minutes. Okay, so yeah.
So here's where I get to spout off on the ideals. All right, so right now, Veilid is so important. As I've said, we are facing the internet and all of this data being scraped and stored, and I'm still hearing horror stories even today, or yesterday at this conference. I heard about how, various websites are collecting your health data based on the fonts you're using.
300 trackers on a medical website. I'm like, give me a break.
Like, that is terrifying. Where is that going? Where is that ending up? It's being sold to how many different companies? We are seeing a world where our online activities are being tracked more and more and more. We're living in a world where people who are, messaging each other to, get health care in various states are going to jail because they're turning this stuff over without a warrant.
Yeah.
Okay, the future of that data looks pretty bleak. It looks pretty scary. And all that's being done with it thus far is, keeping more people, keeping the people down and allowing billionaires to go and, try and fight each other or go to space or whatever weird ideals they have at the moment. But either way, we shouldn't be so reliant on these billionaires to be protecting our data. The cloud doesn't have to be Jeff Bezos' computer. We have already paid $1,500 for this supercomputer that you carry around in your pocket. Why are we still continuing to pay? Whether that's either monetarily or with the bits of your life that you are handing over to some random internet company every time you log on.
Now, what's the first thing you think of when you see a free app on the App Store? You know that you're going to be getting ads, and a lot of them, and that's how you're paying with your eyeballs. And we got to stop paying with our eyeballs.
We also want to be able to give developers the freedom to do things that they normally wouldn't have the freedom to do because it would be too expensive to try and fail. One of the beautiful things about Veilid is that there is no board that anyone has to answer to. We have no intentions of making any money on this. That is the last thing that this project is for. Can't be bought. We don't have to give developers the choice of either you're going to make the user experience less enjoyable, or you can sell their data just to make ends meet and keep the app in the store.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to happen.
That's a perverse incentive.
It is. So let's break it. Let's just not do that anymore.
Yeah, do something else.
Yeah. We really want to be able to give people the freedom of not having to have that much invested monetarily into building an app. Yeah. You can build things just because the world needs them, and it's not going to cost you anything but your time and your energy. And that's the way it should be.
So yeah, all that's missing is you. You can join, you can help us out. And Veilid's really what we make, all of us make of it.
Yeah, together, we can hack the planet. All right?
I find it's kind of weird and ironic that hackers pride themselves on making computers do things that they were not intended to do. This might be one of the first times that I've started building something that makes computers do what they were intended to do. It's a different way of thinking, but I'm kind of like, whoa, really, this is what they were thinking about when they put that internet together. It's like everyone was just talking to everybody, sharing everything. It's like, this is the first time that the hacking is going the other way. So.
Everybody always thinks of hacking as, breaking things. Move fast, break things. What about move fast, build things?
Yeah, build a better future.
That's hacking too.
Yeah.
We do have the Discord, and we are, my background personally is with activism and mutual aid and building these communities. One of the things that's great about our Discord, like I've said, there is no risk of coming in and trying something new. If you know of people that are not necessarily in cyber that are trying to break into the industry, tell them to come in. Tell them to come in, contribute, try to do something.
The diversity of perspective matters a lot to us.
It really does. Not to mention what we're doing, there's a lot of people in there that are hiring managers.
Yeah.
If you go and you do something and contribute to the project, we'll be more than happy to give you a reference to show that you have experience in the field doing this.
Yeah.
And it's a way for that footing to be equal.
Go ahead, stick contributor to Veilid Foundation on your LinkedIn. It'll help you get the foot in the door. We'll tell everybody how you helped.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Veilid Foundation, real quick, we do have a 501c3 nonprofit charity that exists to develop, distribute, and maintain a privacy-focused communication platform and protocol for the purposes of defending human and civil rights. We have to say it that way. It is our mission statement, according to the government. Basically, Veilid costs us not much to actually run, if anything. I mean, we have some subscriptions for GitLab or whatever and other little pieces of things, but Veilid is self-sustaining. When you contribute to Veilid, you're helping us with outreach, coming to events like this, some marketing around it, paying for some of the human time involved in helping to make it happen. So if you want to write off or you want to tell your company to do their matching donation, you have the opportunity to do that here. And we're eternally grateful.
And none of us are quitting our day jobs. We're all, this is our hobby.
Yeah.
It's a weird hobby, but we like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we've had a lot of contributors, and I'd like to actually go ahead and thank them right now in person. So you can see on the right here is a list of the pull requests that we've accepted to the repository. I think only one of those in the last month was actually from me. You can see a lot of other contributions from other people. We've had people working on documentation, specifically this guy Kianha, who has been absolutely tireless in helping us build the books and documentation in Rustdoc. Retroid, who's an absolutely amazing hacker, has contributed to tearing apart Mastodon's protocols and Twitter, and to his credit, one of the security vulnerabilities in Veilid.
We have Daniel Meyerson. He's a lawyer. He asked us what we wanted to do about our privacy policy, and the only thing we could say is nope.
Yeah, we don't want it.
We don't want any data. We don't store any data. Just nope.
Nope. Yeah. So.
And he managed to turn that into an entire comprehensive privacy policy, which I highly recommend you go read if you're into that sort of thing. I am.
It is the edgiest, coolest privacy policy that is still legally binding and viable. So, really proud of that. Sal Testa did a bunch of Rust work with us. Eve Hobart also Rust work. Definitely, small contributions matter. Fixing little things that might just become a foot gun for somebody, or porting like a small piece of code that needed to make it work on FreeBSD or other platforms. Paul Sajner also bug fixes, but really with a focus on making sure that VeilidChat gets out the door on time. People have been helping us, lubricate these things, get out the door. CI/CD optimizations, automation really matters to a small team like ours. So people who have helped us move faster, get a lot of credit. Testing, testing is like documentation. Nobody wants to, but you gotta. You want to scale, you have to have good tests. And we've had people help. Sergey Surovtsev did some tests for our distributed hash table, which were great. Documentation cleanup. Haley must have committed like 50 different pull requests, fixing everything from silly typos to things that were just simply not clear. And Rivka Sagan has written maybe, one of the big security vulnerabilities and a number of other just architectural patches, helping us identify places where we might have accidentally incorporated some privacy fails in places that we shouldn't have. So no contribution is too small. Please help.
I also would love to thank our core team.
Yeah.
My husband, TC, many know him as Super Tease on our Discord. He has been a huge help as far as even just throwing ideas back and forth with him about how various things are going to be working. The Gibson has been absolutely amazing and a huge help when it came to getting this thing off the ground in the very beginning. Not to mention, he introduced it to Hackers.town, who has been amazingly supportive. That entire Mastodon community has really rallied around this idea. We have CodeBabe, who built our amazing website and constantly, is more than happy to update it whenever I have some weird whim or I'm like, I think we should just make this word different. Our lawyers have been amazing and answered so many questions, because I have a ton of them all the time. Every member of the Cult of Dead Cow has really come together and helped either make the party happen, helped us, formulate some of the ideals, asked us the hard questions, about the bad things that could possibly happen and see how we're going to handle them, and help us, create game plans for the future. And honestly, this idea that started way back when, it has grown into so many people and so many different things, and I would love to see the world truly just get the internet we were supposed to have all along. And that's going to take everyone here. If it stays in this room, if it stays in this community, then we have failed. We want to make sure this is accessible to everybody out there.
And at the same time, I'd love it if someday the Veilid apps that are produced for most people are just sort of indistinguishable from any other app. They're just simple, easy to use, one click. They shouldn't have to become privacy experts to just be able to trust what we're building.
Privacy should be the baseline.
And if we want to wonder what's the future of Veilid Foundation down the line, we really hope that Veilid Foundation can serve as a governing body that also helps promote and judge applications we feel are holding up a privacy banner the right way. Not everybody in a peer-to-peer network is bound by the same ethical standards that maybe the founders of Veilid are. We'd love to think that people are only going to use this for good, but it would be good if we extended the Veilid Foundation mission into highlighting apps that are doing a great job of managing privacy and being an opportunity for trust. How do you trust applications that are just built by whoever? So over time, we hope to take on a role in terms of really judging how Veilid apps are how private they are.
Mm-hmm. So you can find us online at all of these places. We are on the web. There's our website. We are on Twitter while it is still existing. I'm shocked, honestly, that we still have that on the slide, 9 months later. I did not expect that.
We're not a blue check. We're not going to be a blue check.
Yeah, we're not a blue check. We are on Mastodon. Veilid Network. We have the Discord until we can build a better Discord. We are there for now, though, and everyone is welcome to join. And the entire theme of the Discord, I see there's kids in here, so I don't know, plug your ears for a second, but our whole thing was we are encouraging everybody to come in, play around, fuck around, and find out. Yeah. That is a scientific method. That is how we learn. Say you have never tried marketing, you've never tried, writing Rust, you've never tried Flutter, come in. Yeah. Lots of people want to teach you how to do it, and you got nothing to lose except your time. That's it. Yeah.
Help us out. Help yourself.
And if you like to go through the code, check out everything that has been built, see how it's been built. Dill has really made its fantastically glorious architecture right there, and it's on the GitLab.
It builds anyway, yeah.
It is.
It's pretty good. I actually started learning Rust because I wanted to build this, and it's gone through a lot of iteration to get to the point where it's at. I think it's a pretty good example of how to write really solid cross-platform Rust. So.
And as we said, very soon we will be opening up the beta for VeilidChat. It would be open already, except I was worried about him burning out, so I introduced him to this thing called Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
And
So I've been making like little vegetable farm for quite a while now. So
Yeah.
sorry, folks. Priorities here.
yeah,
I know you all want
that's
to
what I mean.
overthrow data capitalism, but I'm freaking selling onions or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
it will be available soon.
Yeah, it's coming.
So anyway, I am really thankful to be here. I am happy that all of you came out to hear this, and I hope you walk away with some really fun ideas and understand that you are welcome to come join us, and hopefully we can all hack the planet together.
Thank you.
Is it okay to mention Stardew Valley?
Oh, yeah, it's very humanizing. I appreciate it.
I try to interject somebody's stuff.
You bet.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm a member of the Web 1.0 generation.
Yeah, so
So I appreciate you bringing that.
thanks. Yeah, no, I don't like the way the internet is heading. I'd like to definitely see it get back to the roots of what it was supposed to be.
I'm probably not old enough to remember Stuart Brand well.
I do remember it well.
I was a member of that.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And that was so exciting. Just exactly what
Yeah.
Cool.
We have an opportunity to do things a little differently now. So let's capitalize on that and make it happen. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm bringing out stickers. Everyone wants stickers, right? Yeah.
Sticker economy here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, I did. Yeah, no, I actually, I got planned to, but as right now, he's in the back window of my car, and people take pictures right now when they park behind.
Roadmap is more of a technical roadmap, but it is available on GitLab. You have to know a little bit about GitLab. It has a organization level epics. If you go to the epics, the projects, not for the repository, but for the organization. If you look at the epics, you can see what we're building and what the next steps are. So that's more of the technical side. In general, though, you've got Veilid Tor, which is like how everything talks. But then we're also building, and this is like, I'm gonna backport it out of VeilidChat when I'm done with Monday. But I'm gonna be taking the Veilid support library package out of the Dart code, moving it into Rust and writing bindings for it. That will become a Veilid standard library of like the right design patterns to make Veilid do what you want. I don't want to do that because I know that it's just going to start using my bad code until I've made it work the right way. So I don't want to like encourage people to copy and paste my shit until I'm happy with it. But once VeilidChat is out and sufficiently scaled, I can sort of prove that these are things that I feel comfortable sharing and like saying that everyone should write code using this because it works and it's been proven to work. The fact that out in the library is going to accelerate a lot of development. They won't have to write certain kinds of data structures and how this is working in a distributed system. They don't think about that stuff at all. It'll just be a little bit more easy. So we're just trying, we're trying to make this so that people are just used to having a database or something. You eventually use a Veilid-enabled DHT-backed, block-store-backed database. They're not thinking about it. Just writing queries the way they normally would, and it just work and automatically synchronize stuff. But down the line, you're not going to be thinking about building distributed systems as much. You're just going to be trusting that people have built their libraries using the right core, that it has certain guarantees. That's really what this is about. It's building, it's sort of like an operating system. What Linux did for OSs is sort of what we're doing the same thing. We're doing this for like apps and distributed systems. So really it's that kind of core that we're building, and hopefully the world builds on top of it. Yeah, well, that's how it's going. Thank you.
Wasn't really
Yeah.
but might have been addressed already, but